What's going on, guys? Rapid Reform here. In this video, we will talk about a habit that many of us spend hours on every single day. It's something that we think is normal, but more often than not is ruining our lives, which most of us do not realize. We are going to talk about social media and the psychological effect that it has on our brains. Now, I'm not going to tell you that social media is the root of all evil and that you should completely stop using it. That is for you to decide. Instead, I will give you my perspective as someone who used social media for nearly 6 years before I decided to quit. In this video, we will talk about why we use social media in the first place, why I decided to quit, and how quitting changed my life. I hope this video will inspire you to think about how you use social media and how you may want to use it moving forward. But first, you should hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications right now so that you don't miss out on any new videos. So there are two main reasons why we want to use social media. The first is for profiting. Because social media platforms like Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook are all purposely designed to be addictive and are super popular, they are amazing places for advertisements to catch attention. That is why you can use social media to market just about any product or service that you want and drive in more customers. But the thing is, only about 3% of all social media accounts are for profiting. The other 97% of accounts are all for pleasure, which is the second reason why most of us use social media. We use it so that we can stay in touch with other people, so that we can stay busy when we are bored, and so that we can feel good anytime someone likes or comments on our posts. Back in 2012, the average person spent about an hour and a half a day on social media. But now in 2020, that number has gone up to nearly 2.5 hours. And as technology continues to get better and social media platforms become more and more addictive, that number will only continue to rise. One of the reasons why social media is addictive is so that ads can pay these platforms as much as possible. The more people watch and look at ads, the more these platforms get paid with ad revenue, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it certainly causes you to stay on their platforms longer. So that is the main reason why I decided to quit social media, to have more time available for other things like making videos, reading books, meditating, and so on. I specifically deleted Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter. I still kept Facebook, but only to manage groups that I was in charge of. And I only did that on my computer, since that's where I do most of my work on. And within just a few days of quitting, I noticed a huge transformation in my life. Of course, the first thing I noticed was how much more free time I had available. When I was still on social media, I was spending nearly 2.5 hours on my phone each day total. Even though that number is significantly below the US average of over 5 hours a day, I still thought that 2.5 was way too high. I thought about all those hours adding up each week, each month, and each year. 2.5 hours a day on my phone was equal to spending 38 days a year on my phone. That's more than a whole month. However, once I quit social media, my daily average each week dropped to about 50 minutes a day, the majority of which was for making calls as well as sending and responding to important emails and texts. So before that, I was spending nearly an hour and 40 minutes on social media every day. With more free time available, I spent more time actually socializing with people instead of through my phone, which certainly made me a more outgoing person. And also I spent a lot more time reading books and running outside. And besides that, I also got a lot fewer notifications from my phone, so I was a lot less distracted every day. In fact, quitting social media made me realize that most of the notifications that I get were not that important. So I turned off all notifications except reminders and text, which I only use for important messages and never to have a conversation through the phone. Overall, the extra time I had available for other tasks was well worth it. And more than that, I found myself comparing to others a whole lot less. Social media gives a highly false impression about other people's lives. Think about it. Most people only post during really exciting and happy times. Do you think a lot of people would post when they're really tired and stressed? Do you think a lot of people post when they've just broken up from a relationship? What about if people are in high debt and are struggling to pay their bills? The point I'm trying to make is that you only see the good things, which causes your subconscious mind to think that everyone lives perfect lives while you don't. It makes you think, why am I not at the beach? Why am I not in a relationship with a cute guy or girl? Why can't I have as much money as these guys? Whether you think you compare yourself to others or not, the fact is that you are still seeing a bunch of filtered pictures and videos, and chances are that you think you would be a lot happier if you were actually in that position. But remember that wanting something can only make you happy for so long before you are back on the hunt for something else that you want. Without social media, I was staying in my own circle much more, and I am a lot more proud of who I am no matter what anyone else thinks of me. I learned that pop culture was something I really did not care about at all, mostly because it had no role in my life unless I made it that way. And honestly, I was not missing out on anything. If there was something really important going on, I would usually hear about it in the news, or one of my close friends or family members would tell me. And a final way that quitting social media changed my life was that I was feeling a lot more confident around other people. I mentioned that I had the time to socialize with real people more often, but another thing that quitting made me do was stop looking at the feedback I got from likes, views, retweets, and so on. When I used social media, it was really easy to look at other people and think to myself, why can't I get 300 retweets or likes on my photos? How do these people have 1,000 followers and I don't? So tying back to comparing myself to others, looking at those numbers made me feel like I was far below average a lot of the time. I felt like my friends always got a lot more respect from other people than I did, and that my friends were much more important than I was in almost any setting, which really destroyed my confidence. However, once I stopped looking at those numbers, I had no clue how important anyone really was, so I always felt like I could be myself in any situation. Over time, that has really improved my confidence to the point that I now do my best to make other people feel important as well. The bottom line is that quitting social media for me was a win all around. And if I ever go back, it won't be to see what's going on in other people's lives. So with that said, I want to ask you, how much time do you spend on social media? Do you think you lose time each day to do important tasks? Do you want what you see in other people's lives? Do you want to improve your confidence? If so, I assign you a 30-day challenge where you cannot use social media at all. Unless you use it for profit or to manage a certain group for an organization, you cannot view anyone else's posts. The point of this challenge is not for you to quit social media altogether, but so that you can gain a different perspective on what life may be like without it. In my opinion, there's literally no downside to quitting, so your life can only get better without it, but you'll never know if you don't try. And if your life doesn't get better after the challenge, then at least you will know what works best for you. But again, you will never know if you don't try. Were you inspired by this video? Then you should leave a like down below. How often do you use social media? What platforms do you spend the most time on? What would you do with the free time you have available? Leave a comment below and let me know. And of course, you should subscribe, hit the bell icon, and yes, you can turn on notifications for this channel, since it will only rapidly reform your life for the better. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and live your life to the fullest.